VeChain, the most undervalued crypto.
And this is why.
Right, guys, as we get into this video, we're going to tell you why we think VeChain is the most undervalued cryptocurrency. If you find this video useful, informative, hit that like button. We both really do appreciate it. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you want to stay up to date with those new cryptocurrencies and hidden gems, then why not consider subscribing to the channel? By subscribing, you'll be kept up to date with everything we do here. It is free. You'll stay well informed. So why not? And Chris, this is a pretty important video because this is your biggest bag.
Yeah, this is my biggest bag. As you know, if you're a viewer of the channel regularly, you would know this because who wouldn't? I talk about it so regularly. We've already seen over 6,000% gains on VeChain, and I still think it's the most undervalued crypto in the space. I really do, Nick.
I do. Right, let's jump on down to the desktop and talk about why we think VeChain is so undervalued.
Let's do it.
Right, guys. So one of the main fundamental reasons is all around how VeChain itself is so widely used and adopted in the real world, yet that is not reflected in the price. We're going to be spending a bit of time talking about those partnerships and what VeChain is currently being used for right now in the real world at scale. So the first thing, Chris, that we have to get into is obviously that one of those recent partnerships that we've seen, and that was VeChain becoming a council member of China's Animal Health and Food Safety Alliance, which is a pretty big deal, Chris.
Oh, it's huge. The Alliance has 130 members, including big names. And I mean, they're not just big, they're huge names. Walmart, IBM, McDonald's, Starbucks, Nick, the list goes on and on and on. So some of these members are large companies that cover the likes of food manufacturing, beverage manufacturing, supermarkets, animal supplies, e-commerce platforms, research labs, and much, much more. VeChain will be the only blockchain technology provider to these 130 council members. And that is not small in anyone's imagination.
It really isn't. So just pause there for a second. If McDonald's wanted to use blockchain technology for traceability and let's say its supply chain or its authenticity of food production, then ultimately it will use VeChain, at least from the China's perspective. And of course, the same goes for Walmart, which currently is using VeChain. But again, Starbucks, right? If they were to use or want to have some form of traceability, authenticity, tracking of some kind, they will use VeChain. And the same goes for all 130 of these council members. So this isn't a small deal. But yet still, this news that dropped at the end of 2020 does seem to have been overlooked quite a bit. Not many people seem to be talking about VeChain, and usually there's lots of FUD about how it's China related or Chinese focused and all that kind of stuff. But actually, VeChain is global, and that's one of the things that we're going to try to get across in this video. Ultimately, we're starting here because this is 130 enterprises over in China that if they want to use blockchain technology, which I believe they will in the future because that's where the future is going, then they are more than likely, well, they'll have no choice but to use VeChain because they are the only service provider for this particular alliance. Now, those council members are not small. They are huge enterprises, and that will be huge adoption for VeChain and the VeChain for blockchain. So pretty big stuff going on there, Chris.
Yeah, huge. And it probably is worth talking about another huge partnership that they've got, the 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗐, Nick, because they've also come out and said that basically, their partners are only going to use VeChain too. Do you want to cover that in a bit of detail?
Yeah, we can do. So, partnered with 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗐, and this is something we have spoken about for quite some time. And 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗐 is a certified Norwegian license register organization and has tremendous fame in the supply chain industry. There's not going to be many people who have not heard of 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗔𝗐. And ultimately, they're keeping a global market share of 21%. Yes, a global market share of 21%. Now, that is not small. So Vechain and 𝗕𝗪𝗔𝗐 declared a partnership that concentrates on the clarity of information about products and suppliers in the supply chain to enhance efficiency. And 𝗕𝗪𝗔𝗐 is operating with food producers to guarantee food safety throughout the chain. The partnership connecting Vechain and 𝗕𝗪𝗔𝗐 is meaningful, as it assists as a gateway to multiple additional partnerships. And this is something that, again, Chris has kind of hinted on in the past, and as I have as well, and that is that ultimately if 𝗕𝗪𝗔𝗐's clients were to adopt blockchain technology, they would be adopting Vechain. And that is because 𝗕𝗪𝗔𝗐 will be recommending and we will be pushing their clients to use Vechain for blockchain. And the same thing can be said, Chris, for that other absolutely massive partnership, which is PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC. And again, most of you will be familiar. Vechain became a partner with PricewaterhouseCoopers to produce a blockchain tracking system for their collaboration promoted Vechain to gain the attention of Walmart China as a new partner, right? And that was fantastic to see. That was one of the best and quickest integrations that Vechain potentially have, and it is being used now as an example as to how fast you can onboard a new enterprise using the Vechain toolchain, right? And that's a fantastic bit of blockchain as a service, tech that really does onboard clients onto the system very, very quickly. The traceability system empowers customers to scan QR codes to get information about product status, product location, product logistics, and product inspection reports. So absolutely vital. And again, in the same way that 𝗕𝗪𝗔𝗐 would recommend their clients use Vechain, you can bet your bottom dollar that PwC will also do the same. And that would be absolutely massive adoption and mass adoption for Vechain. Chris, do you want to cover some of those other fantastic partnerships?
Well, just touching on what you're talking about there with the partnership with Walmart. Obviously, they've got the Vechain toolchain implementation support, which is just they've been able to integrate like really, really quickly, which is remarkable, right? And we talk about this a lot on the show. But Walmart China, I think it's about 430 stores there in China, so it's not small, and obviously Walmart is literally the largest food retailer in the US, which is where it'll be going next, right? I guess once they've fully sort of rolled out, because at the moment it's not on all products that Walmart China use or distribute, should I say. So massive partnership there. I think you've also got stuff around the automotive industry, and this isn't small either. And if I let people into sort of my way of thinking when it comes to how big the automotive industry is going to be for the likes of Vechain, right? They're integrating with the likes of BMW and Renault. Governments around the world are signing up to reduce carbon output by like 40 to 60% next. So it's massive, right? So what does that mean? So when you look outside and you see all the cars driving around, most of those are going to become obsolete in the next five or so years, right? Maximum 10 in my mind anyway. And they're going to be electric cars everywhere, right? So you've got the whole revamp of the auto market, and I think that's going to be massive. That means new parts. So if they're already integrated and tracking parts and stuff like that already, well, all of those are going to become obsolete, which means new parts. And I don't know what the average number of parts there are to a vehicle, but I mean BMW, I think you've mentioned it a few times, have the I guess it's a record. It's not a record that you'd want, but for the most stolen cars, it's crazy, right? So for me, this is massive. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, the German car maker is using the Vechain blockchain technology and is the seventh most considerable car manufacturer, designing about 3.4 million cars per year. So a pretty big deal, right? And this collaboration between Vechain and BMW led to the release of an app called @𝗕𝗪, which is a digital passport for vehicles. So you can just imagine how important something like that actually is. This is to fight against those scams that are out there, those odometer scams, and so forth, and it empowers users to see and record their maintenance history. But obviously you can see this evolution within the automotive industry here, where every part could potentially be entered into a blockchain, and therefore even a third party or black market breakdown of a vehicle could potentially be eradicated through blockchain authentication of car parts, which would be absolutely fantastic. And again, BMW is just one of many that Vechain are actually targeting, right? So as Chris mentioned earlier, there is Renault as well. And I think there was another electric company, Chris, another electric car company, but the name is escaping me right now. But yeah, there's some fantastic things going on in this space around, actually, I think it's BYD, that was it, Build Your Dreams, the largest car manufacturer of electric vehicles and batteries in China, as well as the world leader in production of battery-powered electric buses. So again, fantastic things going on here to reduce those CO2 emissions, as Chris was talking about. The Chinese government has developed a solution in the shape of carbon banks, and businesses that have huge carbon emissions will have to pay for its carbon credits. And DNVGL that we mentioned earlier and Vechain have formed a system that is implemented on more than 900,000 vehicles and provide users to earn carbon credits by reducing carbon emissions. So again, all of this stuff is interconnectable. And those partnerships are really working strongly together. So the automotive industry is a massive part of the ecosystem of Vechain, along with, as we said before, that 130 council members in terms of the Food Alliance. You obviously have high-end luxury goods in terms of retailers. We haven't really spoken about H&M, but they're also on the list here of partnerships where they basically use it for traceability from field all the way through to the factory that was actually producing the clothing, and basically a consumer at the end can verify the entire process and verification of shipping and manufacturing of that particular piece of clothing. And that is a massive deal as well, and lots of things are going to be happening in this space around that, and already is in the real world, having large amounts of adoption around that authenticity. We see it quite a bit with some of those luxury brands as well, and I think that's going to continue, and that trend is going to be absolutely massive in the future. It's also no coincidence, Chris, that ultimately, Vechain are going after the NFT space as well, because once you have those luxury brands onboarded, the next evolutionary step is to basically create those NFTs for those brands. So if they're already onboarded on the Vechain, then why not have some kind of NFT marketplace associated with Vechain at the same place? So therefore, brands can easily not only trace everything that they need to prove the authenticity, but also create an NFT and then interlink everything together. You can see interoperability here being absolutely key, and you're going to see bridging happening between many additional blockchains, and that is also going to be absolutely massive in the future. So Vechain, in my opinion, is very well placed, and it still confuses me, Chris, as to how Vechain, with this amount of real-world adoption, is not a top 10 cryptocurrency. It is astonishing.
It really is.
But let's wrap this video up. We've been going for about 13 minutes now, and it's important that we kind of cover off our conclusion here. We could spend an entire day going through every single partnership and talking about the fantastic things that are happening here with Vechain. But we do think that actually you should do some of your own research as well. So dig into all of these partnerships, find out what they're doing, what they're using Vechain for, and hopefully you'll find just the amazing things that we have found out as well. But in conclusion, the way that Vechain is grabbing these extraordinary partnerships more, and the more success seems to be imminent for Vechain. The price of Vechain token just simply does not reflect the success that Vechain has had, and the VET token will be, I believe, a striving blockchain project that should be a $1 to $2 valuation. With time, Vechain will indeed seize more partnerships and will achieve fantastic heights of accomplishment. And I think it's only a matter of time before everyone starts to realize that the opportunity in front of them was Vechain the whole time. Chris, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think to summarize, we've gone over some of the partnerships that are just immense, right? And I guess the point that's being made is, they're integrating with big institutions, companies, however you want to frame it, in the real world. Now, there isn't a lot of other blockchains that are doing this as well as VeChain is, and it's so undervalued on that basis. But we know it's got great tech. It's the only 5-star rated blockchain in the world, and they've got a fantastic team. And I think when you sort of bundle all of that together, you've got yourself a wonderful investment. That's just my opinion, not financial advice.
Yeah, absolutely. Do your own research. We are not financial advisors. These are just our thoughts and opinions, but based on the research that we've done, VeChain should be a top 10 cryptocurrency. With that said, we find it the most undervalued in all the crypto space at the moment. And if you found this video useful and informative, hit that like button. We both really do appreciate it. And of course, if you're new to the channel and you would like to stay up to date with those new cryptocurrencies and hidden gems that we talk about, then why not consider subscribing? By subscribing, you'll be kept up to date with absolutely everything we do here. It is free. You'll stay well informed. So why not? And with that said, we hope everyone has a fantastic day and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Yeah, take care.